Okay, recording.
Okay. So this is my little front page here. Let me go to the next one. This was my agenda for us that we would do kind of like a meet and greet. And then these were some things that I thought we could talk about: prepping, planning, pacing, this wonderful thing called slant, some techniques for dealing with behaviors, and then questions. But all of this can be very informal. I mean, we can go in any order. We don't even have to go in order. But just to get started, I was just going to do some introductions. So my name's Amy, and I've known Sandy and Joe since college, before they were actually Sandy and Joe, right? I mean,
Yep.
and so I have known them forever, and Allie's our goddaughter, and we love her so. We love all the Pricers, but we really love Allie the most. But I've been teaching in Hamilton County for 22 years. That's scary. And I've
Where do
been.
you teach?
What do I teach?
Where do you teach at?
Currently I'm at Sequoia High School.
Oh, okay.
And I taught my first round of teaching was at Eastridge Middle, 8th grade. And then I went to Loftus and I taught 8th grade. And then I came back across the river to East Hamilton, taught 8th grade. And I figured I finally got my chance to leave middle school in 8th grade. And so I went to Sequoia, and I've been there. I guess this is my third or fourth year. I can't remember. After a while, that kind of all runs together. So, but how about you? Tell me. I was just had some things like, how did you get involved in Rise Up, and what workshop are you going to facilitate, and what kind of questions do you have, if any?
Did you want me to go?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I've just known Sandy since I moved here through homeschooling.
Okay.
And we've done co-ops together, and we did the St. Peter's and Paul co-op. I teach there.
Okay.
And I have a master's in psychology, so I actually worked in a school.
Okay.
Where kids came to this alternative school kind of for their last chance. They were kicked out of regular school.
Oh, okay.
And we were in the school and did counseling with them, and group counseling.
Okay.
Individual, group, family therapy. That was prior to me having kids, though. And then I started homeschooling, and so I've taught in co-op classes. I actually used to substitute when I first got out of college. Just to make money, I substitute taught. So I was just thrown in whatever classroom, whatever day I could work. So that was a long time ago. And now I teach like RE. And actually I had, I think, is the health department connected out at Sequoia out there?
Well, we have the health department is kind of across the street, but
Yeah.
we don't really do anything with them.
So I do stuff with Catholic Charities, and you mentioned that, and I actually had a pregnancy parenting class out there with some teen girls that I did a couple of times.
Yes, that sounds about right. we do face that quite a bit. So yes.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you know just as much, if not more, than I know about dealing with young children, young tweens and teens, and those dealing with challenges and difficulties. So you can share with me as much as I probably can share with you. So what workshops are, so you're going to do stuff with more like therapy kind of groups, or what?
I guess the one thing that I've done so far was, I think it was on strengths, like knowing your strengths.
Okay.
It kind of depends on, I'm pretty flexible on what I do. It kind of depends on the group, if we're doing a girls group with Girls Inc., I don't know. It depends.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So you've been in the classroom, you know what classroom environments are like. Do you have any questions specifically about anything? I was telling Sandy that what I chose to put on here is all true, except I don't do some of it, or I haven't done it in the past. And I can assure you that I wish I had. These are things that really do work. So I was just kind of coming at it from, oh, okay, I've made a lot of mistakes over the past 20 something years. And so these are things that I should have done. But, experience is great teacher.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and get started and just go through some of these real quick. So I was just going to talk about how, preparing, planning, and pacing is, if you can do all of these up front, that prevents a lot of your issues to begin with. If you are confident that you have all your materials, you have your copies made, you know who's going to be in your room, get you a timer, just everything you're going to need. Pencils for kids, if they're going to need to write something, make sure you have some for them ahead of time, because they're guaranteed not to have it. And so just, again, if you are prepared, you're going to feel more confident. And then, of course, plan, create an agenda, and I would share it with them. Like, I would have it visual for them to see so they can follow along and know what's going to be expected. And then just kind of thinking about how you're going to present. Oh, what happened? How you're going to present your workshop. Is it going to be mostly lecture? Is it going to be hands-on group work discussion? Is it going to be a hybrid, a little bit of both? Just having a beginning, middle, end, saving time for reflection. And then, do you know what your end result is? Do you know, like, after the end of the workshop, how are you going to know that they got it? Or, does there need to be a part 2 or a phase? Like, are you going to do a survey at the end, or some kind of exit ticket? Are they going to demonstrate something? So that's, I think, always helpful as well. And then, of course, the pace. You want to go fast enough that you're keeping them interested, but they need brain breaks. Especially, I'm learning that more with online teaching than anything, is staring at a computer and sitting down for longer periods of time. It's a lot different than when you're in school, because they get to walk between classes, they get to talk to people, and those things naturally release your brain. But when you're just sitting there hovering and staring at a screen, you get really tense. And so I have to take brain breaks, and they need them too. Also, if you're doing things where you're transitioning, just remember that always takes extra time to do. Are you going to provide them with a time to go to the restroom? Are you going to talk to them about protocol? Like, do you want them interrupting you if they have to go, or are they just going to get up and walk out of the room? I don't know if in a real classroom situation, or when you have them, if you want them just getting up and moving, or if you want to say at the beginning, hey, about halfway through, I'm going to let all of us go to the bathroom. So if you can, please just hold it till then, that would be great, so we don't have interruptions. Are you going to let them have snacks? I know that sounds silly, but I personally cannot stand the sound of crunching and bags rattling and all that stuff, and popping of soda and stuff like that. So, if it's going to distract you, then, say, hey, let's have snacks when we go to the restroom. Let's have that little break. Of course, on the same end, having too much downtime can also cause problems if they have too much time to talk to each other, or they're not interested, and so keeping it moving. So to me, these things I put first, because if you prepare and you plan and you pace everything, a lot of times that controls the situation and you have far less problems.
So Amy, I have
Yes.
a quick question.
Okay.
From your experience, when you mentioned brain breaks, how how long do they tend to be able to sit through something before you feel that a brain break would be helpful?
Depending on the age, but you start seeing them squirm about 20 minutes in.
Okay.
I wouldn't push it past 30 minutes. If they're a little bit older teenagers, I think they can go a little bit longer. But if you have those middle school kids, they need shorter periods of time.
Gotcha.
So, and you can kind of watch in their body language, you know, when they start kind of looking off or getting antsy and stuff like that. That's a good cue that, oh, maybe it's time for a break, you know. So
Great. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I'm taking notes. This is great. Thank you.
Okay. So, I mean, is there anything else on here that you wanted to talk about, or?
Not on this one necessarily. Heather, did you have anything?
No, I didn't have any questions on that. That's good. Good stuff.
I did think that some great things that I didn't think about was like a timer. I took some more notes. The end result. How are you going to know if they got it? I mean, I know that I need to know if they got it, but I hadn't really consciously thought about that. So we need to figure out how we can quantitatively, is that the right term? Find out.
Yeah, absolutely. And depending on what your workshop is, you know, it could be just a reflection, like they write something at the end. You could have them do a survey, or I don't know. I mean, if you're doing like learning how to change a tire or oil change, I mean, how are they going to demonstrate that? Are they going to make like a little video and send it in, or there's so many things out there now. I don't even know half of them. So, but they do. So
They sure do.
for sure. But yeah, I use a timer. The timer's one of my good friends. Is just telling them if they have an activity, here, we're going to do this. You have 10 minutes. And making that timer visual for them as well. They can see the countdown, so they know how much time.
Okay. That's a great idea.
So this one, have you all ever heard of this before? They have it in this book. This is not mine, but I have this all documented at the end that I got this from something else. So this is not my idea, but I am going to use it. They paired this with slant and star, but I think I liked slant better. So it's just an acronym. And it's sit up, listen, ask and answer questions, nod your head, track the speaker. So I just thought that would be so great to have kind of on a poster. You might even make these for like all of your things and just have it up and say, hey guys, we really want you to follow, or we follow the slant model. And that is, we sit up when someone's talking, we listen, we ask and answer questions. If you agree with something or you understand, you nod, because think about that. I need that for my students. And so your presenters, that's a great way to know if they're still there. And then tracking the speaker is look at the person who's talking. So if the speaker changes to someone in the audience, they should track and turn and look at that person. And sometimes our students or kids don't know to do that. They don't know that that's etiquette, is to look at someone when they're speaking. And so, you know, you can make it really simple, but once you go over this, it's so nice because if you see people needing adjustments without even having to call them out, you can say, hey, you know, show me your slant, everybody, or hey, we need to check our slant, and just point kind of at the poster so that they understand what you're talking about. So it's really quick. You don't have to call anybody out by doing it, and they know what you're talking about. So
I like it.
I thought that would be kind of an effective, and it's not babyish. I mean, it makes sense.
Right. And like you mentioned, all of it you mentioned, you referred to track the speaker when you said etiquette, but I'm pretty sure you meant too that all of it is etiquette. And
Oh, yeah.
I already asked them to ask and answer questions and to be interactive and to pay attention. So that's just a better, more formal-ish way to share that. I love it.
Yeah, I like it. And the other one is STAR. It's sit up, listen, ask and answer, and I don't know what the R is, but I can find it if you would like to have that.
Now, if you think that slant was better, I like slant.
Oh, okay. Sit up, track the speaker, ask and answer questions, and respect those around you. So that's the STAR. So, I mean, they're both good. They work.
Both very good. You're right.
So maybe even for like a younger crowd, you can say, hey, we like to be stars. We're stars, you know. I don't know if that would come across with your older teenagers. They may be like, what? So I work with a 9th and 11th grader. So I have to make sure I'm like, okay, they already think I'm an old person. I don't need to add anything to this. All right, so I'll just go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so the next things that I found was these are like actually the techniques that you would use for classroom management. And so I chose 6 of them that I thought would be relevant for a workshop. Because I was thinking, okay, so these workshops, a lot of them are just one. And then you might meet these kids this one time. So it's a little different than if you have an established class of kids. So the first one is just, you know, radar, be seen looking, make sure they know you're looking at them at all times. And just keep an eye out. And if you see something happen, don't ignore it because it will not go away, and address it or take care of it right then. And move around. A lot of times we're tempted to sit down, and like right now I'm forced to in this current situation. I have to sit behind a computer because I have kids in the classroom and then kids on screen. So I can't really be in the same place. So and I've noticed a difference if I'm not able to move around and see them and get close to them. It can make a big difference. So again, just them seeing you moving around and being aware of their behavior is a huge part of classroom management. The other one, least invasive intervention. So this is with any student really, but especially, and you know this, Heather, with students who are dealing with some issues, the last thing you want to do is call them out or embarrass them or anything like that, because that's just going to make things worse. So the ideal too with teaching is if you're really good at it, you can very discreetly deal with the issue without the rest of the class even knowing you're dealing with it. Like it's, you know, it's just kind of very discreet. You don't stop teaching, you keep talking, you move your body to where the problem is. You might give them like a gesture like, hey, cut it out, or you might point to eyes, or you might, you know, whisper, hey, slant, you know, or you might just do the little tap on the desk. So there's all kinds of things you can do without just stopping in the middle and calling someone out, because that 9 out of 10 times does not go well. How are we doing so far?
I know firsthand that doesn't go well, especially if it's your own kid and you're at a homeschool co-op and you call them out and they're like, what? I do that a lot.
Yes, yes. And I know this too because I have called out many kids, and I can tell you from personal experience, it does not go well. It just, yeah. So definitely learn from my mistakes.
I think that it will help because my plan is to have a presenter or a teacher and then an assistant in all workshops. That way the assistant can address things like this
Oh yeah.
and not have the teacher stop or have to be distracted, and then they can then, you know, like you were saying, whisper slant or whatever's needed to control the situation.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we sometimes, if we're lucky enough to have our special ed teacher in the classroom with us, it's a blessing because then you do have those two people and somebody's walking around and just an extra pair of eyes, and it makes a huge, huge difference.
I'm sure.
For sure. So the other thing is firm, calm finesse, you maintaining your, your pose, don't letting them get you rattled, keeping yourself calm, even though you want to probably like jump out and scream and strangle, but you're just going to be really calm. Keep your voice very level, because if you remain calm, then the situation won't escalate. And some of the other children in there could be watching you and they're kind of nervous. They're like, oh gosh, she's about to explode. And so if you can keep it calm, it assures them as well. And then number 4, the art of consequence, just, making sure that if you say, hey, this is going to happen, you stick with it. You have to be, if you say, if you get one, if I get onto you one time, or if I give you the signal and you continue the behavior, then I may have to remove you from the classroom, or you may be asked to leave, and you have to be willing to follow through with that consequence. So that is the other. So, and then I like this word depersonalized, because that's really hard to do, being depersonalized and keeping calm and not thinking that they're doing what they're doing specifically at you. Like, don't take it personal. Don't make it about the person, make it about the behavior. Does that make sense? Like, it's the behavior that you have the issue with, not the person.
That's definitely hard. You're right. It's almost like our human tendency to not want to depersonalize it.
Oh yeah. I still can't do that well. So 5, strong voice, and a voice can be verbal and it can be nonverbal. Like, I have developed a really good eye stare. I have the teacher eye stare. Even my daughter Kinsey is like, okay, you got the teacher look going on. So just, in the way you kind of look, can prevent, give a strong voice that you're serious, or maybe you're upset or you're frustrated with them. And so just through that strong voice, you can control a lot of the situation as well. And the last one, oops, go back. What to do, giving them, and especially right now, I'm terrible at this with online classes. It's weird how different it is teaching online versus in person, but what to do, being specific with them, giving them concrete, sequential, observable directions on what to do is so important, because if they start getting confused, if they don't know what you want them to do, that's an opportunity to act out. Either they're going to shut down, they're going to start doing something else because I don't know what she wants me to do, I don't understand. Or they're just going to get really frustrated with you, and then that's going to come out. So, and that again helps with having the slant where you can say, hey, this is the behavior that we talked about. This is what I'm expecting right now. If you want them, let's say you want everybody writing for the moment, be very specific. I need everybody with a pencil in hand and you need to write right now. Everybody's writing, we're quiet. So not talking about what you don't want them to do, but being very specific about what you want them to do and what you want to see makes a huge difference. And we good on that one? All right, and then I just, that was it. And then I just had, if we had any questions or concerns, today's takeaways, anything that they thought they might want to use, or ideas that they have that they would like to share. I mean, Heather, I know you've experienced situations too where you've had to deal with behavior issues, so you have things to share. So I just thought that this would be a good time to share. And then here's my contact information if anybody wanted to contact me or ask a question or even observe. Because sometimes that's fun. And then the last one I had was just, this is the book that I've been referencing the whole time, was Teach Like a Champion 2.0. And I've looked mainly at chapters 10 and 11.
Awesome.
So that's it.
Heather, did you have any scenarios or any other tips that you would like to share going along with what Amy shared?
I don't think I have anything different. I know that, my thing when I did stuff, like you said, just being able to walk around, and if somebody was kind of off task, just kind of like the tap on the shoulder or whatever, or, but I've also been like in the RE, or like our classes where we have 2 people. And so that's that person's job. Like I'm teaching and like I just go on, even though somebody else I know they're doing something, but I don't even let that distract me. I just, so if you have 2 people, I think the one person teaching, like I'm good at, like, I worked on a psych unit too, so I'm good with extra distractions, so I can continue focusing. So when you have 2 people, I feel like, you can continue with your thing. That person can take care of it quietly. So I know that's worked well. But like you said, being up and around.
Oh, yeah.
I've done a couple of Zoom meetings with my 2nd grade RE class. In about 20 minutes, they're spinning in their chairs, and I'm like, all righty, we're going to have a closing prayer.
Literally, huh?
I cannot.
I had notes in front of me, like I'm getting through it. I'm like asking a question. We're doing a little Simon Says. I'm like, okay, we're going to just, I'm trying to keep them on track.
Oh, yeah.
Do a couple of Zoom meetings. We're meeting in person in a couple of weeks though, because everybody's ready to come back. So
yeah. Did you say 2nd graders?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that.
But I didn't go past 30 minutes, but I did have to have my notes. Like I was like, I know what I'm covering, and I know, like, I'm having them answer questions, and it's hard I usually have hands-on stuff when I do 2nd graders. Like I try to break it up. Like we might read something, we might watch a short video, we do a hands-on activity. They may come and sit down in front of me and then go back to their desks. So at least we're moving at different spots.
Oh, yeah. Instead of 20 minutes, it's more like 5 minutes with them. Okay, that's a 5-minute. Let's rotate. Let's move on to the next thing.
I think I also heard like adults' attention span is like 21 minutes. Like even adults, they start wandering after.
I don't have 20 minutes. I'm like 5. But I'm very distractible. And that's why I feel like, I mean, there are many reasons to have a 2nd person in the room. But one being because like some people are like me and they're so distractible. They don't have that zeroed in focus like you were mentioning you have, Heather. And a kid could stand up to go to the bathroom. I'm like, where are you going? Like, I'm not going to say it out loud, but like, I would be very distracted. And if I know someone else is in that room as an adult to take care of, find out why, why did you stand up or pay attention or whatever. And I think that could definitely help keep me on track. Let alone the kids, but
oh yeah. That's the mom in you, Sandy. Where are you going? What are you doing? What's happening? That's that's just mom.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I got a lot of takeaways. I've got a page of notes, so I greatly appreciate it. I think it helped greatly. I appreciate your time, not only tonight with us, but putting this together. And I'm, like I said, I recorded it, so I'm actually still recording. I'm going to stop now because I tend to do that. I tend to, at the end of things,